Now, former Bosasa Chief Operations Officer Angelo Agrizzi has been moved to a private hospital. This follows his family's request after his medical condition deteriorated. Now, Agrizzi was denied bail last Wednesday at the Palm Ridge Specialized Commercial Crimes Court. Now, during his bail application, his legal team argued that he should be granted bail because of his deteriorating health condition. Joining us now is Singabakho Nxumalo. He's the spokesperson for Correctional Services. He talks to us all the way from Lady Frere in the Eastern Cape. Mr. Nxumalo, thank you very much for your time and really appreciate talking to us here. Having spoken to us overnight, we heard you that this was a family request which was acceded to by Correctional Services and that this will be at the cost of Mr. Agrizzi. The question here, though, Mr. Nxumalo, is has Correctional Services satisfied itself that indeed Angelo Agrizzi is gravely ill?
A very good morning to you and thank you for having us. I think what's critical at this stage is to ensure that life is protected. And the best way to go about that is to listen to the medical experts. They are the ones who will do the assessment and advise us on what is to happen. So the same thing happened here when Mr. Agrizzi was admitted. They assessed him. They also checked on him the following day, hence then they took a decision that he be transferred to an outside facility, which was a public hospital. Then the family, as you explained, that then made a request that he be moved to a private facility. Everything was explained to them in terms of the procedure. And again, we received a report from his treating doctor who said, no, he must still be hospitalized. So we just have to follow that. Ours is to ensure that our officials are there to guide him and that he does receive the necessary care. So we are guided by medical experts, and whenever they say he is now ready to be transferred back to our facility, we shall also follow that.
All right. So just for the record, and very briefly if you can, how serious is his condition, and are you at liberty at all to tell us what may be wrong with Mr. Agrizzi?
Unfortunately, we are not permitted to discuss a medical condition of an inmate or a remand detainee. So that is between the inmate and the treating doctor. So, but all that we require as Correctional Services is someone has to confirm that indeed this person is sick and that appropriate treatment is given to this person. So at this stage, we just have to follow what the doctors are saying. So what they've told us is that indeed it does require hospitalization.
Mr. Nxumalo, I've got to bring to your attention the case of Mr. Christian Prinsloo. There are reports that have emerged that he has been released on parole. Just to tell the viewers who he is, Mr. Prinsloo is, or should I say, was a police officer who was convicted for selling guns to gangs, members of gangs in the Western Cape. You tell us whether or not he has been released on parole, not even having served, I would say, half of his sentence. He's been sentenced to 18 years. He's been in jail now, I think it's the 4th year, if I'm not lying. Please will you give us or bring us up to date as far as that issue is concerned?
Xoli, on that one, I'll prefer that we discuss it once I have a full brief. I don't want in your show to give information that I'm not even sure of. I know about this case. We have received inquiries, but one has to receive a full brief in terms of what's happening there. To say if he's in custody, which correctional facility, you will understand that we have more than 140,000 inmates, and also to say what is happening around him. We've seen the reports, we've made some inquiries, but then one has to receive that full brief and also be confident enough to say, no, this is what is happening. Otherwise, one could be misleading the public. So with all due respect, I would request that let us be afforded an opportunity to get a full brief, and we have a duty and obligation then to come back and inform the public in terms of what's happening with that particular person.
Let me use your own words, Mr. Nxumalo, and turn them back to you and say, with all due respect, you've got to be honest with the public. Mr. Prinsloo, or should I say the Daily Maverick, which came out with this story, has been chasing you for days, and in their article, they're very clear that you have been evasive and you basically have not been wanting to comment about this issue. So how is it that you're still going to investigate to find out the whereabouts of this dangerous man?
Being evasive, I don't think it's a correct word in this particular instance, because you will receive an inquiry, inside the department. You will check what's happening with that particular individual, and you've got also to check on the system to say what is the status, and if certain information is not clear or it has to be cleared by certain authorities, unfortunately you just have to follow those processes. Hence, I'm then saying to you, let us be afforded time to indeed get a full report, then has a responsibility. I think we're one of few institutions who make it a point that when is an issue, we go out public and state to the public what's happening. Even with this particular case, let us, get a full brief so that we can come back and then inform the public to say, no, this is what's happening with this particular individual. Where, yes, we've seen some media reports, but at this stage, one doesn't have that full record. Let us get that and come back to say, now we have everything. This is what we can say to the people of South Africa.
All right. So in the interest of time then, and in as far as accountability is concerned, the public is listening to you right now. You're requesting for time. How much time do you need, and when can we talk to you again here on Newzroom Afrika about this particular matter?
The good thing is that we're always available, and we always communicate with the media and other institutions. The moment we have that full record, we'll not have to wait for Newzroom Afrika to say, Mr. Nxumalo, how far you? We'll be the ones who will even conduct Newzroom Afrika, even if it's this afternoon or in the next few days, to say we now have a full record, we are available, when can we talk about the issue? But all that I can confirm and make it public is that we will come back and say, this is what's happening with this particular individual. And I must reiterate this. We have a duty and a responsibility to inform the people of this country what's happening in our centers, what's happening with particular individuals, or all those who are then placed in our care as correctional services.
All right, fine. We'll give you that, we'll grant you that opportunity then, Mr. Nxumalo, to at least get back to us about this dangerous criminal. Let me talk to you about another criminal. Where is John Block being kept?
John Block is in one of our facilities, and he is serving his time. It's unfortunate that I think a few days in your show, a statement was made that he was granted parole related to COVID and is at home. That is not true, and we have clarified that. He's in one of our facilities serving his time, and when the time is due for him to be considered for parole placement, that will be looked into, and if he's suitable for placement, he will be placed. But at this stage, he's serving his time.
Where is he? Which jail?
I wouldn't want to give you the specific correctional facility, but it's definitely in the Northern Cape.
It's definitely in the Northern Cape. Why would it be a secret to not reveal the jail he is in? Why is that an issue of national security? Is it?
It's not a secret, but one has to take the issues related to safety into cognizance, and the interest that this particular issue, has generated over a few days. We've experienced where at times, people will use all manner of things trying to entice our colleagues, to do certain things for them. So we then took an approach to say, where a risk has been identified, we've got to protect the inmate, we've got to protect the institution. Hence, I'm saying to you, indeed, it is in the Northern Cape, but the risk is a bit high, because we know of what often happens when one say, no, this particular person is at this particular hospital, and then you will see what will happen there. The same thing we did even with Mr. Agrizzi when we had to take him to an outside hospital. We didn't disclose the name of the hospital, particularly for those reasons. Even now, when he's moved to a private hospital, we will not disclose that, because it just gets too dirty, if one may use those words, because people, get approached they're offered all manner of things, to say, give us information, take a photo of this person, things which, are very illegal. So as a department, we have that obligation to protect inmates, to protect our officials as well.
Has he ever been let out of jail for any reason at all, Mr. John Block?
I didn't get the first part of your question, if you may repeat it.
I'm asking that, has there ever been any reason that he had to be taken out of his jail cell and either, go home or to a hospital? Has he basically been in jail since he was incarcerated?
He has been with us ever since the day he was admitted. The only thing that happened was that he's not at the center where he was admitted. He had to be moved to another facility looking at his age and his classification, but he has never left a correctional facility for any other reason. We are looking after his health and all other needs, just like any other inmate. So I can safely say he's serving his sentence, and he will have to do that up until he would detention period when he will be considered for parole placement.
Right. Thank you very much for your time, Singabakho Nxumalo. He speaks for the Correctional Services of this country.